everyone, and welcome to Chicago Public Library's Make It Monday. My name is Tara, and I'm from the North Austin Library. Today, I'm going to show you how to make a toilet paper roll knitting loom, and then I'll give a short demonstration. For today's project, you're going to need a toilet paper roll, or you can use something like a tape roll or even a mailing tube roll. Just make sure you have a grown-up to cut the tube down. You'll also need any kind of tape like masking tape, duct tape, or decorative tape. You'll also need glue. It could be tacky glue or Elmer's glue, whatever you have on hand. I'm going to use a glue gun. So make sure if you have one at home, have a grown-up do that part for you. You also need scissors, popsicle sticks. I recommend 8 popsicle sticks, but it's up to you however many you want to use. Rubber bands, and a pencil. So now that we know what we need for this project, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with our toilet paper roll. And I'm going to get some popsicle sticks here. Now, for this demonstration, I'm only going to use 4 popsicle sticks, but I recommend that you use all 8 because you can do different projects with those 8 popsicle sticks. So I'm going to start by getting a rubber band and putting it around the toilet paper roll. And I'm just going to use that rubber band to hold the popsicle sticks in place so that I'm able to tape them. So go ahead and start putting your popsicle sticks. Now I'm going to try to evenly space them. Put the first one and then the next one could be right directly across from it. And then same thing on the other side. Put another one with one directly across from it. Okay, so that's pretty good. They're about evenly spaced. Make sure the popsicle stick is sticking up over the toilet paper roll because that's the part where we're going to do the knitting. All right, so now that I have my sticks in place, I am going to tape this. Let me get another piece of tape. All right, so if you want, you can add some decorative tape here. I have that as well, but I'm gonna cut that out to save a little time. Now, the next part I'm gonna do is to add some googly eyes. Now, the reason why I'm adding the googly eyes is because, as you see on the one here that I already made, they're at the top, and that kind of prevents the yarn from sliding off, which can be a little frustrating if a younger child with smaller hands is trying to do the project. I feel that this is a good project for any kids, maybe age 6 and up, as long as, they can figure out how to do the knitting part. Okay, so now I'm gonna glue these on. Let me get my glue gun. Remember, if you're using a glue gun at home, just make sure a grown-up does it for you so you don't accidentally burn yourself. Okay, so I'm gonna start and put glue the first googly eye on there. Now, if you don't have googly eyes, that's fine. You can improvise. You could use things like small buttons or any other little object that just kind of sticks out a little bit to prevent that yarn from sliding off. And I'm also only using 4 just because it'll be easier for me to show you the process with less sticks on here. And it's a little faster too. Okay, so I almost have all my little googly eyes on there. Good thing about the glue gun is it dries a lot faster. Okay, so I don't really have to wait for that to dry now. So now we can actually start our project. Make sure you get your yarn. Now, I know it can seem a little daunting to start a knitting project, especially if you've never knit before. Now, I actually don't know how to knit with needle and yarn, but I find the knitting loom a lot easier to knit with. So you're going to put that yarn through the tube and have it come out the bottom. So it should be sticking out the bottom. Make sure you have about maybe 6 inches or so of yarn and hold on to it while you're doing your first few stitches. Okay, so this is the part that is probably the hardest, but once you get past it, it's super easy after that. What we're gonna do is we are going to wrap the yarn around the first popsicle stick and have it cross in the back. So I'm going to do that with the next one. I'm going to wrap it around and cross it in the back, and wrap the next one around and cross it in the back, and then wrap around and cross in the back. Now I keep doing that until I get all the way, around to the first one. Okay, and it should look something like this after you've gone all the way around. Now that I'm back to the beginning, what I'm going to do is wrap it around again, just like I did with the other parts, so that it looks like, make sure that the yarn is above the loop. The yarn you just wrapped around is above the loop. And you're going to take that bottom loop, lift it up and over the popsicle stick. So I'm just going to go around and show you that a few times here. I'm wrapping it around and pulling it up and over. Wrapping it around and pulling it up and over. I'm going to do that a little bit more. Now, if you're having trouble using your fingers or your hands get tired, and you don't have a knitting needle, you could even use like a pencil. So I'll show you that. I'm going to wrap it around, stick the pencil under and pull it over like that. Wrap it around, stick the pencil up and over, and use the pencil like a knitting needle. Okay, so you pretty much, this is the longest part of the project. I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to keep going around and around, but you kind of get the idea. You just keep wrapping around and pulling the bottom loop over, and you keep going until you get your project to the desired length that you like. Now I have one here that's nearly finished. The only thing is, it has to be all tied up. So I'm going to show you how to end your project. So you have your yarn connected. I'm going to grab a pair of scissors here. Leave about 6 inches because we're going to use this part to kind of sew this section of yarn into the rest. Now I don't have a sewing needle, so I'm just going to use a little piece of tape. So that'll help me thread this yarn better. Okay, so to wrap up your to wrap up your knitting project, we're going to take the end of this yarn. Let's see if I can show you this. Put it under the first loop, pull it through, and take that loop off the popsicle stick and pull. You're going to do that for the same one all the way around. So I'm going to take that loop, put my yarn through and pull. And then I'm going to go to the next loop and pull that yarn through also. Oops, it's getting a little stuck here. And pull. And then I have one more loop. I'm going to put that through again. And that's the last one. Once you have the last loop pulled through, just kind of pull this tight here. And then you're going to just tie a little knot at the end. And there you go, you've completed your first project. I'm going to cut off this excess yarn here. And you now have your lovely bracelet. Now there's other things that you can do. Earlier I mentioned that it's good to put all 8 popsicle sticks on there. And the reason why I said that is because if you wrap the yarn around all 8 instead of just 4, you're going to create a different pattern. And that pattern is going to cause the yarn to become more or less elastic. So knitting actually has a kind of elasticity to it. What is elasticity? Well, if you have a rubber band and you pull on it, it stretches. Now, if you have yarn and you pull on it, it doesn't really stretch. But with this bracelet project, with only using 4 popsicle sticks, the yarn actually stretches, and that's a good thing because it stretches so that you're able to put it on your wrist without having to put a clasp on it. Those the spaces in between the popsicle sticks, if you only used 4 popsicle sticks, kind of give the yarn that elastic effect. So I did a different project using all 8 popsicle sticks. I wrapped the yarn around all 8, and as you can see, I made something totally different. There's a lot less gaps between the pattern in the yarn. And this lovely guy is my little doggy finger puppet. Isn't he cute? Now this would be something really fun to use if you're doing story time at home or just putting on a simple little puppet show. So that's why it's good to have the full 8 popsicle sticks on there, because you can create totally different projects. And this one is not quite as stretchy as this project. So one thing that you can try to do when you're making things with your knitting loom, you can try wrapping the yarn different ways around your popsicle sticks and kind of test to see what different patterns it makes and how do those patterns make your project look. So now that you know what to do, you can get started on your very first knitting project. Thank you for joining me today for Make It Monday. Tune in every Monday at 4 p.m. for more Make It Monday activities.